Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of Alexei Facts. Have you ever imagined a woman with a beard? It sounds weird, but it exists. Today we will talk about some famous bearded women, who have not only lived life but also achieved a significant position in life. Before we dig into it, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to enjoy more interesting videos and amazing facts. Harnaam Kaur, born on November 29, 1990, is a British social media personality, postpartum coach, life coach, and motivational speaker. Kaur was born in Slough on November 29, 1990. At the age of 12, Kaur was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome. One of the symptoms of PCOS is hirsutism, or the ability to grow excessive facial and body hair. Kaur is able to grow a full beard as a result of her condition. While Kaur initially attempted to remove her facial hair due to constant bullying, she holds the Guinness World Record for being the youngest woman to grow a full beard. Her record citation read, "Now with a beard measuring as long as 6 inches, she overcame years of bullying to take ownership of her appearance and achieved this record title at the age of 24 years and 282 days. Jennifer Miller, born 1961, is an American circus entertainer, writer, and professor at the Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York. She has lived with a beard most of her life. She is a juggler and fire eater. Miller lives in New York City. Miller became involved in the performing arts and theater while in high school and was involved in the downtown dance scene in New York in the early 1980s. In her career as a performing artist, which has spanned over 20 years, in 1989, she established the acclaimed NYC political performance troupe Circus Amok. She was also the main character in Tammy Gold's documentary Juggling Gender, an exploratory piece addressing themes of androgyny, gender classification and identification, feminism, and femaleness through a singular focal character, Jennifer Miller herself. Circus Amok has been the subject of numerous documentary films. Miller is widely recognized for her work and is the recipient of awards including the Obie, Bessie, BAX10, and, most recently, the Ethel Eichelberger Award. Jane Barnell, January 3, 1879 to July 21, 1945, was an American bearded lady who worked in circus sideshows, dime museums and carnivals. She used various stage names including Princess Olga, Madame Olga, and Lady Olga. In her only film role in Todd Browning's cult classic Freaks, using the sideshow stage name Olga Roderick, she was billed as the Bearded Lady. Clémentine Delait, March 5, 1865 to April 5, 1939, was a French bearded lady who kept a café. She has been described by contemporaries as the most illustrious and celebrated bearded lady in France and the perfect example of a bearded lady. Delait began selling photographs and postcards of herself and became something of a celebrity. She began touring Europe, attracting great crowds in Paris and London. Her touring intensified after she became a widow in 1926. By all accounts, she was very proud of her beard and took great care of it. Charles Grossier, her former barber, claimed that Delait would watch him like a hawk whenever he would be trimming her beard. Grossier visited her 3 times per week to wash her beard with a special shampoo and claimed that she took care of that beard. She washed it, she clucked over, she brushed it every day. Alice Elizabeth Doherty, the Minnesota Woolly Girl, 1887 to 1933. Doherty was born with approximately 2-inch long blonde hair all over her body. None of her relatives are known to have had a similar condition. She had blue eyes. Alice was exhibited by her parents as a sideshow attraction from as early as 2 years old. Later she was presented commercially by her mother and Professor Weller's one-man band throughout the Midwestern United States. She was consistently shown as a standalone exhibit in storefront exhibitions. By the time she was 5 years old, her hair grew to about 5 inches, eventually increasing to about 9 inches by the time she was a teenager. Doherty was never interested in entertainment but continued to perform to support her family, anxiously awaiting retirement. Annie Jones Elliot, July 14, 1865, October 22, 1902, was an American bearded woman, born in Virginia. She toured with showman P.T. Barnum as a circus attraction. Whether the cause of her condition was hirsutism or an unrelated genetic condition that affects children of both sexes and continues into adult years is unknown. Many photographers, including Matthew Brady, took her portraits during her lifetime, which were widely distributed. As an adult, Jones became the country's top bearded lady and acted as a spokesperson for Barnum's Freaks, a word she tried to abolish from the business. Jones married Richard Elliot in 1881, but divorced him in 1895 for her childhood sweetheart William Donovan, who died, leaving Jones a widow. In 1902, Jones died in Brooklyn of tuberculosis. Josephine Clofullia (1829–1870) was a famous Swiss-born bearded lady who toured with P.T. Barnum's American Museum. If this name sounds familiar to you, it's probably because of Hugh Jackman's movie The Greatest Showman. Madame Clofullia, as she was often billed, was born Josephine Boisdechine in Versowix, Switzerland. She was born hairy and reputedly had a 2-inch beard at the age of 8. At the age of 14 she began to tour Europe, first accompanied by her father and an agent and then with her father alone. In Paris she met painter Fortune Clofullia and eventually married him. Krao Farini, 1876–16 April 1926, was an American sideshow performer who was born with hypertrichosis and took part in 19th-century exhibition tours in North America and Europe. She was adopted by William Leonard Hunt, also known as Guillermo Antonio Farini, who exploited her appearance. Throughout her life she was falsely advertised as a primitive human and billed as the missing link between humans and apes. Accounts from her early career have Krao Farini being born in Laos, then a province in northern Siam. As is the case with biographic accounts of most sideshow performers, it is unknown how much of her known life is fictitious. Krao, Shelley, and Bach arrived in London in October 1882. By 1883, Krao was being exhibited in Europe as an example of a missing link between humanity and apes and proof of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. There she learned German and some English. During that time, she was exhibited by Guillermo Antonio Farini at the Royal Aquarium in Westminster. She was given the surname of Farini at some point after her capture by sideshow promoter Guillermo Antonio Farini when he adopted her. In early November 1884, she arrived in Philadelphia and was said to be 8 or 9 years old at the time. She was still under the care of Dr. George Shelley at the time. Julia Pastrana, August 1834, March 25, 1860 was a performer and singer during the 19th century who had hypertrichosis. Pastrana, an indigenous woman from Mexico, was born in 1834, somewhere in the state of Sinaloa. She was born with a genetic condition, hypertrichosis terminalis. Her face and body were covered with straight black hair. Her ears and nose were unusually large, and her teeth were irregular. The latter condition was caused by a rare disease, undiagnosed in her lifetime, gingival hyperplasia, which thickened her lips and gums. After Pastrana's death, Lent sold her body and their son's body to Professor Sokolov of Moscow University, who permanently preserved them. Her body was taxidermically preserved. The process was a blend of taxidermy techniques and embalming chemicals. Although generically referred to as a mummy by some authors, her preserved body was technically not a mummy because it was not mummified. Her body was stuffed, as noted by renowned naturalist and taxidermist Charles Darwin. After the bodies were preserved by Sokolov, Lent repurchased them from him and began exhibiting them throughout Europe. Helena Antonia, 1550–1595, was a bearded female court dwarf of Maria of Austria, Holy Roman Empress, and was a favorite of Margaret of Austria, Queen of Spain, and also a lady-in-waiting for Constance of Austria, Queen of Poland. She was born Sin Leach. These were 10 pretty famous bearded women in history. Hopefully you enjoyed the list. Let me know in the comments section which women you like most. Also, don't forget to like and share the video with friends, and kindly subscribe and press bell icon for more interesting videos.